So as you might have guessed, video games have been a big part of my entire life. No matter what interests or ambitions I may have focused on, video games have always been involved in some form or fashion. Hey everyone, it's Socrateez, and I was just thinking about how we need to kick off the year 2020. So I thought, why not talk about little old Socrateez here? So today, we're covering my top 10 favorite video games. Let's do it! Video games have always served as a means of escape. The very idea of being immersed into another world to temporarily leave behind your current life can be therapeutic. It was in the year 2016 that I found my ideal gaming realm to escape into. Stardew Valley. This wondrous little farming game created by Concerned Ape is an incredible work of art. This one-man passion project is everything that was great about old-school Harvest Moon games, only made better. You are given a farm to cultivate into your own personalized dream home. You plant crops, tend to animals, befriend the unique townsfolk, and traverse dangerous mines. The game is so lovingly crafted and is designed to be your own experience. You are free to ignore the aspects you do not like and go all in on the parts you do enjoy. Once invested in this tiny world, you will be spending hours telling yourself, "I'll just play for one more day." Since the game's original release, there have been multiple updates and improvements. There is even multiplayer now. Emily and I would play together and get married in-game if she just wasn't so madly in love with Shane. My number 9 has changed in recent years. Shovel Knight is worth mentioning due to what it did for crowdfunded video games. Shovel Knight was a Kickstarter game that absolutely delivered on its final completion promises. It truly is a love letter to classic NES days of old, with a more modern and sleek pixelated final form. But in 2014, a new Kickstarter game was funded and then released in 2017. This game stole the place in my heart where Shovel Knight once ruled. Hollow Knight. This beautiful Metroidvania is a breathtaking journey to behold. The world you are dropped into, literally, is simultaneously gorgeous and disgusting. You are in an underground world of insects, where every area is interwoven and connected in unique ways, creating a vibe and style of storytelling similar to the Dark Souls series. The environment tells the story as you journey through this tough-as-nails, maze-like world. Speaking of nails, the combat revolves around your quick-paced timing using your trusty nail as a sword. The controls are all smooth and precise and require a distinct mastery. This game fills the spot on my list that any Metroid, Castlevania, or Dark Souls game might have filled, as it is the best example of all three. I won't go on into too much detail, as the game is one that should be experienced in its whole and with as little knowledge of it as possible. This game is incredibly affordable, and now has free content to add to its value. If you stopped watching now to go buy it, I wouldn't even be offended. So let's talk about a product of the 90s that's not me. Sonic the Hedgehog has one of the most chaotic histories in all of gaming. The Blue Blur's debut and the amazing classics released on the Sega consoles, to the mediocre 3D Sonics, to the terrible 3Ds after, to the slightly better, and then worse, and then better, and so on and so forth. But in 2017, we finally got a true return to form for the Blue Hedgehog. Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania was a passion project created by a group of Sonic fan game creators who were hired by Sega to create a brand new 2D Sonic game. The result? The most refined and tightly controlling Sonic game to date. The game is host to revamped classic stages, while featuring distinct variants of said levels between Act 1 and 2. The game has DLC updating the roster to 5 playable characters, and features original and creative new level ideas that stand toe-to-toe with the classic stages. No other Sonic game quite captures the charm and legacy of the series like this retro throwback of a gem. Now if we could just keep getting Sonic games as good as this one, all would be right in the world. So I'll keep this video fairly tame, but just as a forewarning, Number 7 on this list is really gross and extremely raunchy. Ah, Conker, you crazy alcoholic squirrel. Conkers Bad Fur Day is a mascot-driven 3D platformer from the Nintendo 64 era of gaming and created by none other than the legendary Rare. I never dared to play this game as a child, for good reason. But something always intrigued me about it. Probably that the star of the game was from Diddy Kong Racing, a video game for children. I spent a long time in college looking for this game, only to have Emily be the one to find it and buy it for me as an anniversary gift. And oh man, is it one of the best gifts I've ever gotten. This game is tight, fun, and absolutely hysterical. In this fever dream of a game, Conker gets wasted and loses his way home, and it starts as a simple journey to fight your hangover and make it back to your house. But the game quickly escalates to involve Conker's girlfriend Barry being kidnapped, a king looking to use Conker to replace a missing leg on his table, bank heists, and so on. This game is completely self-aware and parodies everything from Saving Private Ryan to Terminator to The Matrix, all while showcasing a plethora of vulgarity, gory violence, and toilet humor. This is a game that every adult gamer should experience at least once in life, if not for anything, just to witness one of the greatest boss fights of all time, the Great Mighty Pooh.
I am the Great Mighty Pooh, and I'm going to throw my at you.
So no top 10 games list would be complete without at least mentioning Mario. Mario has been around almost 40 years now, and everyone has a favorite Mario game. The man is a platforming icon. But my choice is not that of the platforming variety. Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door. This game is not the first Mario RPG, nor is it even the first in the Paper Mario series. But I have yet to enjoy a Mario RPG more than this GameCube beauty. This game oozes charm and humor. The combat system is incredibly refined and engaging, and the story is one of the most intricate within the series. Every world within the game is unique, and typically features a gimmick, a specific layout, or a story-relevant twist that makes each one stand out. A more perfect Mario experience I cannot suggest, as it is one of my favorite RPGs of all time, and yes, my favorite Mario game of all time. My only wish is that it would be more accessible, as it's only ever existed on the GameCube, and ever since then, the Paper Mario series has been going downhill. Number 5 holds its place on my list almost for pure nostalgia reasons, but the simple fact is, no other open world game has captivated me quite as well as Fallout 3. My first experience with a truly open world game was Bethesda's 2008 Triumph. This game blew me away with how many possibilities there were when it came to customizing your post-apocalyptic experience. You had free reign over this wasteland that, yes, may have been mostly empty, but it truly feels as empty as a post-apocalyptic wasteland really would, and it makes your discoveries that much more meaningful. The dialogue options are engaging, the stories of the land's people and their blights are intriguing, and your mini quests and side quests were unique. Unlike later entries, your quest consisted of more than just go here, kill that, get this. You actually had to engage with people, negotiate, search, and puzzle solve. You could kill anyone, even to the point of ruining your quests or story-relevant plot lines. This world was your oyster, and always remember, praise Adam. And tunnel snakes rule! BanjoKazooie. Nintendo's Super Mario 64 may have defined the 3D platformer, but Rare's BanjoKazooie perfected it. This collectathon exceeds expectations at every turn. The worlds are perfectly crafted to encourage exploration without being overwhelming or containing insane amounts of junk to collect. Donkey Kong 64. Every world feels inspired, and even generic locations like the beach and desert are given unique touches and fun locals and creative tasks to complete. The game introduces new mechanics at a reasonable pace, and the controls are smooth and perfect. And of course, lest we not forget the amazing hub world. Spiral Mountain is a joy to explore, with fun paths that are awe-inspiring as you make your way to the main levels. Everything from the fun dialogue noises, to the incredible music by legendary composer Grant Kirkhope, to the detail put into every world just makes this game a treat from start to finish. Now if we could just get a new proper Banjo game, all would be right in the world. So next up on my list, I'd like to talk about a little lesser known game series. You've probably never heard of it. This underrated game series is called The Legend of Zelda. So yeah, in all seriousness, this incredible series is one of Nintendo's finest and most critically acclaimed, and anyone who has ever played any of the entries typically has a favorite, usually for varying reasons. Mine just so happens to be Ocarina of Time. So yeah, I know nowadays it's fun to hate on Ocarina of Time for being overrated, but it is still regarded as one of the greatest games ever made, and I tend to agree with that. For me, this game encapsulates everything that a young lad such as former younger me would enjoy in a fantasy adventure. The graphics were incredible for the hardware, and the story was grand in scale, but not overly bloated like other fantasy games. Less than halfway through the game, you are thrown a twist unveiling that, guess what? You failed, and now the world has been devastated. This gives more urgency to stopping the grand evil within your journey. The dungeons are well crafted, perhaps minus the water temple. The characters are fun and filled with personality, and the gameplay is perfect for making you feel that you are in fact a legendary swordsman on a quest to save the land of Hyrule. One of the biggest highlights in the game is, and spoilers for a 20-year-old video game, the final boss fight. I regard this as one of the finest final fights in all of gaming, and it seems a lot of Zelda games after have tried to recreate that same feeling, but none have quite nailed it like this game. But hey, I'm just some guy on YouTube talking about video games. What do I know? Being able to enter into another world as another character and create your own style of play with a party that you desire and complete the quests that intrigue you the most is one of the greatest joys of immersing oneself into a video game. This is why role-playing games, otherwise known as RPGs, are so beloved and iconic. To choose an absolute favorite is a difficult task, but there is only one RPG, and it's specifically a JRPG, that left an impression on me like no other. Chrono Trigger is one of the most incredible gaming experiences I've ever had. This game places you into the standard JRPG setting of castles, princesses, and knights that you might be familiar with, but quickly unveils its master plan: time travel. You and your party are sent to a past kingdom and must prevent a paradox while meeting new characters and ancestors of your existing party members. As the game progresses, you make your way to the future, to prehistoric times, to ancient civilizations who seem to be well ahead of their designated time period, and so on and so forth. You pick up fun and unique party members along the way, each with compelling stories and backgrounds. Not to mention that each member is a completely viable option for combat or dialogue interactions. Your choices and decisions made in various scenarios actually have positive and negative outcomes. The story is a host to various twists, realizations, and character developments, and often can change the dynamic of your team. All this, and it is tied together with a unique and immersive battle system. Rather than most turn-based RPGs like Pokemon or Final Fantasy, where you are removed from the overworld and placed into a battle arena for your fights, you actually transition straight into the fight. Fights are based on refilling time meters rather than actual turns, so you choose to attack when you are ready, or you can wait a little bit longer and build up character combos that combine elements to do devastating attacks, which can quickly turn the tide of battle. With all this combined, battles move quickly, are often avoidable, and very few moments in the game ever require extensive grinding. I could go into significantly more detail, and perhaps one day I will, but But for now, I'll just say that if you are a JRPG fan and haven't experienced this classic, you are missing out on one of the most incredible experiences in all of gaming. So what video game is my favorite of all time? The video game series to have the greatest impact on Socrateez. The video game that will surpass the previous 9 mentions. The video game series present at the beginning of my gaming journey. This video game is the sequel to my very first childhood video game. Donkey Kong Country 2. This game is the most wonderful platforming experience in all of gaming. This is the sequel to the graphically groundbreaking 1994 Donkey Kong Country. It takes the graphical engine and primary gameplay and improves it in every way. The cast is swapped around as DK has been kidnapped, so Diddy teams up with his girlfriend Dixie to save the ape. Both feel light, smooth, and control with seamless ease. The game utilizes precise movement and controls, features tag team abilities for extra exploration, a glide ability with Dixie to extend your reach, and a slew of animal buddies who each feel and play fantastically. The game moves away from the jungle island aesthetic of Donkey Kong Country 1 to an eerie and dark pirate island theme. The darker tone and setting makes for interesting and unconventional set pieces, busted up pirate ships, murky swamps, abandoned and rickety theme parks, creepy stone castles, briar patches, and much more. Collectibles further the experience by actually unlocking additional worlds and affecting your in-game results. This game just hits all the right marks. For my younger self, this game was a gift from my mom for completing my first video game at age 4. Ever since then, Donkey Kong Country 2 has been a game that's always been in the back of my mind, and one that I revisit multiple times throughout every year. And thus, my favorite video game of all time is Donkey Kong Country 2, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So that was my top 10 favorite video games. Be sure to let me know what you think, and hey, why not leave your top 10, or at least a couple of your favorites in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back soon with more thoughts. Farewell.